Hi there, everybody. My name is Mike, and welcome to Real Raw Recovery, where healing meets honesty every single day. This is our first podcast. We are excited that you are joining us on this exhilarating journey towards peace, happiness, and long-term sobriety. And when we say sobriety, we just don't mean abstinence, but learning how to live. Learning how to live your life with your head up and your eyes bright and a warm feeling inside of you. Because guess what? You love yourself. And that is going to be the key to this entire program that we have here today and for the entire program that we are laying out for you through transformational therapy so that you can be the best that you can be. The difference between our program and traditional 12-step programs and support groups is that we focus on internal validation and empowerment. And that starts with the love of self. And if that is built up, that is the foundation for our triangle, which is responsibility, choice, and power. Loving yourself is key in so many areas, not just for yourself and for your development and for your recovery, but also for your friends and your family and your loved ones, because you can't give away what you don't have. So if you don't love yourself, then you can't love the people that are important to you. It's impossible. They don't connect. And at the same time, you're not able to accept the love that they're offering you because you don't feel as though you're worthy and you're not enough. And we're going to get more into that in some of those tools that we can use to build our self-esteem. Because a lot of people feel as though their self-esteem is high, and you give them a lie detector test to say, how's your self-esteem? And they're going to say it's great. And that's one of the first two confrontations you may have in recovery with someone, recognizing that your self-esteem is not as high as you think it is. And that is why you're making some of the choices that you're making in your life. The second lie that we have to overcome is not believing that you are worthy and that you are perfect and you are just as you are when you were created. With traditional 12-step programs and support groups, and I think they do serve a purpose. So it's not a knock on those programs, but they are not treatment. They're exactly what they're called. They're support groups. And people can get help there and you can talk with one another, express your feelings. But in order to have true long-term successful recovery without worrying about setbacks and relapses, we believe that this is the best option for you. So if you tried that, if you know someone that you care about and love that is going through this and keeps going through that whole cycle of going back into these 12-step programs, this is definitely a plan with a high success rate that you should take into consideration. And even some of the studies done by AA and NA and support groups and 12-step programs, even their own studies show that after 1 year, only 27% of the people that go into their programs are sober after a year. And anywhere from 40 to 60% will leave the program after 3 months, which are not very encouraging numbers. Those programs, which a lot of people through the courts and the police and families and communities are going to direct you to go to those programs because they're well known. They're a long-standing place in society. And honestly, it's really all people know when you think about recovery is support groups. This information that we're throwing out there and discussing with you is not a new concept, but it's a new concept in today's day and age in terms of recovery, looking inside and our thought process and our mind, because our minds and our thoughts are going to create our behaviors. So it starts in the beginning. If our thinking is negative, our emotions are going to be negative, and then in turn, our behaviors are going to be negative. So if you want to see how you're doing in the recovery process and in the transformation process, all you have to do is you look at your behavior, because your behavior is not going to lie. So let's be real here. Life does get messy, and life is not linear. So you are going to have your ups and you are going to have your downs. It's your emotional regulation and your emotional growth that's going to help you through those moments. And that's where our self-love and our internal validation is the only thing that matters that's going to get you through difficult moments. But the most important thing is that you're here, and that takes courage, it takes guts. And after self-love, which is the concrete for our program here, is our triangle. But without the concrete, that triangle will crumble. My belief stems from the work of Louise Hay, who's a metaphysical teacher and the author of a best-selling novel, You Can Heal Your Life, which was on Oprah, and also Dr. Harry Henshaw, who is a licensed therapist and has a doctorate in human behavior. Both have been powerful influences in my transformation. So we're really excited to get their message out to you through me. And I hope you're as excited as I am, because it has absolutely changed my life. And before we get into the triangle, I just want to get back to the 12-step program. And they're going to tell you that you're powerless, that you're hopeless, broken. There's no solution. There's no cure. And that is not true at all. We are not broken people. We are absolutely in active use, disconnected from our true self. And the only way to find your true self is through this work of transformation and finding yourself and loving yourself. So if you look at the triangle, at the bottom, we have responsibility. Now, what we have to remember is responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up or anything, but we have to come to the conclusion that we are responsible for everything we do, say, feel in our lives. Now, through active use, we've always had responsibility, but we never took responsibility for our actions, but we were responsible. And that's a powerful word. And when you can come to realize that if things happen in your life and you have made a choice and you have made a decision, when you take responsibility for it, it is a huge weight off of your shoulders. It is empowering. And the second leg is power. And you always have the power. Now, your power lies when you live in the present moment. If we are dwelling into the past, the what ifs, the what could have beens, the guilt, the shame, the suffering that we felt or we have caused, then it's hard for you to grow and use that power for your advancement. So staying grounded and staying in the moment is a key function towards that triangle. And the last one is choice. You have the power to choose what you do in your life. And we make thousands of choices every single day, some good, some bad. And when we make our bad choices, from my personal experience, is that it's usually because I wasn't feeling very good about myself, how I felt about myself. It was a quick fix without looking at the consequences of my choices. And then who cares, because I'm not going to take responsibility for it anyway. And that's where there's no change. But recovery is a journey, so there's not going to be a destination. And if you do this work, you will see serious and significant changes in how you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror, your day-to-day activities, when you leave your house. If you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you smile, as opposed to a frown on your face. Mirror work we're going to get into right now, but one of the key things to forgetting about regret and shame and guilt is that we have to remember that you did the very best that you could have done at that particular moment with the knowledge, the understanding, and the awareness that you had. So mistakes that you made in the past, you have a big night, you're getting in the shower, you're getting all ready, you're listening to your music. Nowhere in your mind did you say, I'm going to go out, I'm going to destroy everyone's night tonight and make everyone's night miserable and cause myself trouble with my friends, my family, the law, my career. That was not in your game plan because you didn't have the knowledge, the awareness, and the understanding of where you were. And that's a powerful tool to use to separate yourself from the past and to live in the present moment where you can use your power. Because the next time you do it, if you follow this program with us and we discuss it, you're going to have more knowledge, and knowledge is power. You're going to make better choices, and you're going to take responsibility for your choices. And more times than not, they're going to be good choices. Some things to remember about our responsibility, our choice, and our power is responsibility is taking ownership of our decisions. And when we don't do that, we play the role of victim. And we use that as an excuse for our behavior and for our thoughts, which lead to our emotions. We cannot play the victim, no matter what the situation is. You are always in control of what you do, say, and feel. And choice, the key is going to be you understanding that you can't control other people. You need to be aware of that you can't control other people. You can only control yourself. And some people are going to make choices on their own that you may disagree with, but how you perceive an event or how you perceive how a person reacts to a situation is how you're going to react in turn. And that's going to come with time and understanding that we need to worry about ourselves and we need to worry about the inside And control is a big issue. It was a big issue for me. I needed to control every single thing that was going on. It had to be my way or the highway. I was not open-minded. And when you're not open-minded, there's no room for growth because other people do have good ideas. Doesn't mean that you agree with those ideas or you're going to take those ideas. But if you just block them off initially, then there's no room for you to grow. When you choose to heal, then you are fueling your inner self, your fire. You are making the choice. You have the power to choose to heal, and it just goes around. And if you stay inside of that circle, then that is where your transformation is going to occur. So as we discussed before, the love of self and your self-worth and your self-esteem is our foundation for our transformational recovery. What that starts with is, at minimum, every morning and every night, put up an affirmation sheet. You can make your own affirmation list with I am statements, and you can put them up on the mirror where you get ready for work or going out for the day, or you can check in at our Instagram account, which is real_raw_recovery, and we will have some posted on there. Our website will be published early next week, and that is realrawrecovery.org, where we can correspond back and forth with emails and some more tools and ideas for you to help you on your journey. You're not going to get to the destination and all of a sudden be like, I'm healed. This is work that you have to do every single day. And it's not difficult work. You just have to make the commitment to do the work. Because for so many years, you have told yourself that you're not enough or I can't, that you have instilled in your unconscious mind for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, maybe even more, is deeply ingrained into your unconscious. That we need to bring that to the forefront. And Carl Jung once said that when we bring the unconscious to the conscious is when there will be change, and vice versa. Those memories in our subconscious are not going to go away, but they could be replaced by positive thoughts and positive beliefs. And how you see the world and how you want the world to be, if you visualize it, if you imagine it, you do this work, things will start manifesting in your life beyond your wildest dreams. Our mind is like a computer, and we have infected it. We're not blaming mom, dad, our job, our spouses. We programmed that computer, and transformational recovery and transformational treatment is the tool to do a restart and a reboot on that computer. Now, with the mirror work, you do it in the morning. The tool that I use is you put my hand right on my hand on the mirror. So you're connecting with your true self, your inner self, which is difficult to do initially because you're going to look at yourself. And one of the affirmations that I have is, I love my life exactly as it is right now. I am perfect, whole, and complete. And when I first started doing this work, I looked at myself and it was difficult and my head started shaking left to right. And I was like, I do not love how my life is right now. And I did not feel perfect, whole, and complete. But as you do this work every single day, you can do it on your own in the car or just take a couple of moments during the day and give yourself I am statements. And you'll see that shake from left to right, switch to up and down, north to south, and you're believing it because you're feeling it. But if you stop doing the work and you stop doing your affirmations and your mirror work, and we'll get into meditation more and journaling, those feelings that are still in your subconscious, they will resurface. So the reboot doesn't get rid of them. You're just burying them. And that will be a choice that you'll have to make when you start feeling the way that you do. And you will, if you want to continue to feel that way. Now, for me, personally, where I am right now, that feeling is priceless. No amount of money, toys, cars, houses, nothing can replace the feeling that you're going to get when you reconnect with your true self and you start feeling the way that you were meant to feel. And when you start feeling better about yourself, you're going to start seeing changes in yourself when you enter the real world. You're not going to be as judgmental towards other people, their job, anything. Because if you're judging, then you're not accepting. And acceptance is a key in your recovery. If you're judging them, you're judging yourself. You're going to be more tolerant. You're not going to get upset when you're in traffic. You're not going to get upset in line at the store if somebody is fiddling with change or cash to pay, or if someone doesn't know how to make change at the counter. Because every single minute of every single day that you have is a gift. And gratitude, making a gratitude list in the morning or at night before you go to bed. Every day is a quick reminder as to what you actually do have as opposed to thinking about what you don't have. And that is very liberating. And again, brings you back to the moment and helps you stay grounded. So again, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, it comes down to our ego and to our soul. And so many of us have gotten into the spider web of our ego because of our pride being hurt, that we have found solace in looking for a quick solution without getting to the root of the problem, just putting a Band-Aid on it. And if you don't get deep inside of you and figure out what's going on until you believe that you are worthy of prosperity, of joy, of happiness, that is where you find your soul. That is where you find your true self, your true identity. Too many times people identify themselves with what career they have, what kind of car they drive, what kind of partner they have. And then all of a sudden, those things go away. Change careers, you lose your job, you change your job, you're not with your partner anymore. Your identity has to be you, no matter what situation you find yourself. And when you find out who you are, is where true healing begins. So if this topic interests you and you're looking forward to digging deeper into this with us, come back. We're going to be here once a week with our podcast. And again, on our website, realrawrecovery.org. We can definitely interact and set up some conversations that you may have. Or I'm sure some of those conversations are going to be resistant, which is expected because you have not been exposed to this type of therapy. And it's hard to look inside. We have to go into the darkness to find the light. So again, please join us on our website. It's going to be published early next week, or our Instagram account is open right now. That's real_raw_recovery. And please come and visit us and join us, and we can connect that way before our website gets off and running. So if you're looking for raw conversations, you're in the right place, and we hope that we can point you in a direction. We want all of our listeners and our followers to be on the path that will lead to long-lasting happiness, peace, and sobriety. Not just physical sobriety, not just abstinence, but being excited about tackling the day ahead. All right, everybody. So we will see you next week. Super excited again that you have joined us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good day, everybody.